The Living Zen-podcast is a gift from the members and associates of the Victoria Zen Centre to you. If you enjoy it, please be sure to let your friends know about Living Zen. If you'd like to support our community, download the Living Zen-podcast app for iPod, iPhone, and Android. One of the most meaningful ways to show your support is by becoming a part of our Sangha as an associate. Your commitment of $10 a month will ensure that offerings like the Living Zen podcast and our online e-Zendo will continue to be available around the world to everyone with an interest in truly living Zen. To become an associate, please visit our website at zenwest.ca and click on Become an Associate. Many more Zen Talks are available for purchase on iTunes and Amazon.com. Just search for Venerable Eshu Martin. These talks are also available for free on our website to all members and associates of the Victoria Zen Centre. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support. A crucial element, a very important aspect of practice as we continue, is this investigation of who it is we think we are. I think for many people, as we begin practice, this investigation of the self seems something fairly straightforward. As we begin to sit, as we begin to stabilize our body and our minds, we begin to see how it is that we behave, how it is that we interact with others and with the world around us. For most of us, when we begin, none of the stuff that we see, none of the things that we witness are terribly great news to us. Often they're little habits or tendencies that we've kind of always known were there, known that maybe we should sort of look into those a little bit more. But all in all, it's just more of an awareness of things that we were already kind of aware of. What happens next in practice, or may not happen next in practice, in large part is dependent on the relationships that we make in a community or with a teacher, with some kind of guide. Because if we stay at arm's length, if we stay at a distance, we never have this opportunity to develop trust, to develop a sense of stability, to develop a confidence in the support system around us so that we can really open up and see what's there. Because just as we know, going forward in our lives and in relationships, there are aspects of ourselves that we are comfortable with displaying. There are aspects of ourselves which we might not be entirely proud of, but hey, that's just us. So they kind of hang out there. And we think when we talk about self, when we talk about fixation, when we talk about attachment, these are the kinds of things that we first think of. But as we develop relationships, as we develop trust in a community and with a teacher, we begin to become more and more aware of a whole other spectrum of thoughts and feelings, habits and behaviors. Somehow we've always known they're there, but we don't even like to admit them or accept them or see them ourselves, let alone to allow anybody else to see them. One of the sort of comparisons that I can make is if you're married or if you're in a long-term relationship. When you sort of go out in public with your partner, there are things that you can do and say, ways that you can be and behave that are entirely convincing to whoever you're talking with at any given time, but not to your wife, not to your partner. This depth of relationship, this intimacy, which is founded on trust, which is founded on the stability of the relationship, allows there to be an opening in relationship where we can actually let the ugly stuff kind of hang out without fear of retribution or abuse or shame. Dogen Zenji says, to study Zen is to study the self. And this first part of Dogen's formula always gets sort of blasted over when we come to Zen. We want to get on to the next stuff. To study the self is to forget the self, all this kind of stuff. But first, we have to come into this place where we can take a stable, courageous, unflinching look at this thing that we've created called a self. All of the things that we love about self, who it is that we think we are. But also all of the things that we despise, that we're afraid of, that we're ashamed of, about who it is that we think we are. Because it's not just the good things. It's not just the likes and dislikes, but also the won'ts and the can'ts and the shouldn't haves. What this practice offers us is the stability, the clear-sightedness, the courage to be able to witness all of these aspects of ourselves, all of these habits and behaviors, all of the deeds and misdeeds of our past. It offers us the opportunity to accept responsibility for those things, to embrace them as ours. And having completely embraced them, it allows us to set them free. To recognize that our nature is not bound up in them. Our nature is not dependent on these activities of our past, of these experiences of our past, of our habits and preferences. Whenever we're in a difficult spot, whenever we're in a difficult relationship, there is this tendency to close up, like a turtle or a crab or something like this. We kind of close in, and we protect the softest part of ourselves, the most vulnerable part of ourselves. We don't want to be hurt. And this is, I think, a very natural defense. Therefore, it is essential, if we are to truly know who we are, to truly know our nature, we must find a place, we must cultivate relationships in which we can open, in which we can actively engage in this activity of opening with trust, with kindness, with love, with compassion. It's a terrifying thing, actually. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? Oh, yes, I want to be in this relationship where I can open. But in this kind of relationship, we become exposed. All of our lives, we have been conditioned. We have been trained. We have been inspired to fear. We've been encouraged to engage in this practice of closing. And certainly, there are places where this activity is totally appropriate. But we can't make the mistake of thinking that this is the only activity. To fear, to close off, and to separate. Buddhism points to our nature. That there is just one nature in this vast cosmos. It's not your nature and my nature and other nature. There aren't 3 or 5 or 1,000 natures in this cosmos. We are one. When we close off out of fear, out of anger, we lose sight. We fixate this belief that we are separate. Our practice and the relationships that we cultivate should be pointed at this activity of opening. Opening our hearts, opening our lives, opening our practice more and more, so that we can let go of these things which keep us afraid, which keep us ashamed, which keep us from seeing in each and every moment of our lives that we are intimately connected with all things in this vast cosmos. I guess my point tonight is that when we come to engage in this practice, we can come and we can use this practice to relax, to become sort of more calm. This is wonderful. We can come and we can use this practice to improve our physical health, because that's one of the wonderful benefits of practice as well. We can come to reduce stress or enhance performance or our focus in our work. These are all wonderful benefits, becoming more and more scientifically provable. But beneath all of this, at its foundation, Zen practice is the practice of awakening to our true nature. Letting go of the fixations, of the fear, of the anger, of the shame that creates suffering for ourselves and for others. This practice is available to all of us in every moment. This practice in ever deepening circles is available to us through relationship, through community, through companionship in this and on this great way of awakening. Thanks for listening to the Living Zen-podcast. If you follow Living Zen through iTunes, I would very much appreciate it if you would take a moment to let me know what you think about it by rating or reviewing the podcast, so that new listeners can also hear what you have to say. Thank you for your time and for your support.